There's nothing obsolete about 35 millimeter. Nothing obsolete about it. It's a falsehood and almost a slanderous statement, if you ask me, because 35 still works. So does 16 millimeter. So does 8 millimeter. Anything that still works, that still functions, that still does its job is by definition not obsolete. It may not be popular, it may not be in vogue, but it's not obsolete. I'm not a scholar or a theorist. There are people who say that there is a difference, that watching film with its flicker rate of 24 frames a second and the shutter, the intermittent shutter, does create a different kind of dream state than the rock-solid, steady, uninterrupted digital image that gets projected. I don't know if that's true or not. I know that I've, been dreaming at movies my whole life, watching them on film. In fact, we've all spent our lives watching film in a theater and enjoying the experience and being unaware of the technology, which was the whole point. It's only now that debates have arisen about what's better or what's different. But I don't remember ever sitting in a theater watching a well-projected movie, a well-made movie, and thinking, gee, this doesn't look good enough. I'm missing something here. No, it's never been the case. It's only now that there's a debate about film versus digital. The format hasn't mattered to theater owners for almost 100 years. Hasn't made a bit of difference. And theater owners are in the business of filling seats and making sure their customers aren't upset. No one's ever been upset watching a movie if everything goes smoothly that I've ever heard of. It was a business decision to push digital projection. It was a business decision to adopt it. It's a business decision to obliterate 35 millimeter, and I think that's a poor business decision. It's certainly a poor artistic decision and a poor social and cultural decision. I have no problem with digital projection. I have no quarrel with it. I don't understand why it has to mean the obliteration of 35 millimeter. That's the part I don't get. And that's why I'm supporting this proposal and this enterprise, because I don't see why we can't have both forms coexisting. I know that digital is a colder medium, that the image is sharper, consistently sharper, whether you want it or not, and I find it amusing and a bit ironic that a number of filmmakers I've interviewed lately, young filmmakers making feature films, have gone out of their way either with old lenses or different technology they can use in the digital process to downgrade the digital image and to try to approximate something like film. I mean, isn't that a bit silly? I applaud them for doing it, for trying to make their work look like a movie, but it does seem a bit roundabout. I met a representative from Eastman Kodak who told me that a number of big contemporary hit films just a year ago, and it's still true apparently of this year's Oscar nominees, quite a number of them were shot on film. But you don't read much about that or hear much about that. You hear a lot about laboratories closing, about doom and gloom in this area of filmmaking. You don't hear about people who want to keep film alive and who still want to shoot on film. They can't always get to project it on film, but they want to capture, to use the term, capture the images on film. That includes directors and cinematographers, including some very famous and prominent ones. So as long as they have the clout to keep it going, and as long as there are some hardy individuals who can afford to keep making film stock and processing it, we have a chance of keeping film alive.